everybody, and welcome to another DID video. Today's video is another introduction to others. Today's introduction actually does involve the things behind me. That is something I want to start doing, is having stuff catered to what I'm talking about. Now, what do these have to do with others? Well, these happen to be two of my little's favorite toys. This is Anna's favorite bunny and Pan's favorite plush toy. So, obviously, I'm not going to go like too in-depth with these two. A lot of people don't talk about their littles. Mine do play an important role in my system though, which is what the main thing I'm going to talk about is. But I want to go over why people don't talk about littles very often. Obviously, because they are children. They are generally anywhere that is considered a child, I guess you could say. I've met some people who've had like 10-year-old others. Some people have ones that are way younger. Mine happen to be twins that are 6 years old. Their role in my system is pretty interesting, actually. I used to call them anxiety and panic because I didn't know that I had DID, and I just kind of went with whatever I felt when they were out, and they did help me. I'm not acting like they didn't, but that's kind of the feeling I had at the time. Anna and Pan have very specific things that they help with. Obviously, Anna helps with anxiety and Pan helps with panic. True to their names that I gave them before they actually were, I learned what their names were. Let's put it that way. But they actually have a role outside of that. That's like a secondary kind of thing that they do. Their main role is called damage control. Damage control, essentially, is, you know that feeling you get when you're really anxious and you feel like you're deer in the headlights? That's pretty much what it is. But I like to call it the cement shoes. It's, I compare it to having two kids hanging onto your legs and you try to walk. And whenever this happens, it's usually during a time where something doesn't feel right. I'm feeling anxious or nervous, or I'm belching a lot. I'm about to deal with a lot of panic attacks. And as you guys may have seen, sometimes they are children and they do act out occasionally. I do not blame either of them. I don't blame any of my others for anything. I take full responsibility for my own actions. But honestly, we have had issues in the past where we had to try to calm them down, calm myself down, and it exhausts everybody. But damage control is essentially a safety measure against something that is very nerve-wracking, that makes me anxious, that makes them fear for, my safety and theirs, and the safety of others. And, I like to compare these two to tiny adults because they are very intelligent children. They know a lot of things that they shouldn't, but they're still children. They still act like kids. They still like, children's TV shows. They're both obsessed with trains, which I thought was kind of funny. Whenever a train goes by and we're at the park, it's just immediate switch, and they're like, oh, a train! And it's just so, like, and they'll actually ask me, can we go with the train? And, my obvious response is I don't know where it is. If I knew, I would definitely say let's go watch, and I don't even know why they like trains so much, but they do. It's actually kind of funny and cute. That being said, having children others can be a little nerve-wracking for me, and a little heartbreaking. When you have children others, especially twins, who generally want to talk in tandem, or want to do things like at the same time, it can be a little stressful on the mind. It can be a little hard to handle. Not impossible, but it does hurt a little bit sometimes. It gives me a little bit of a headache. And this isn't their fault. That's just how my brain is. Like, my brain will get migraines from the smallest noise, so... Well, not really the smallest noise, but like really loud stuff. But, the other thing is, we have to be very careful with them. Obviously, Deppy watches them a lot. We'll get more into her in a different video. But, she's their guardian, but she can't keep an eye on them all the time due to her role in the system which is depressive management. Essentially, she is there to make sure I don't do anything harmful to myself, which, like I said, I'll get more into that later. And the reason I bring that up is that there are people who will try to take advantage of someone who has littles. That's kind of the main reason most people don't talk about them. They don't bring them up, they don't say their names or anything. Personally, I have such a very large system, and there's so many protectors in my system due to what I've been through. We're generally okay with talking about them, but we don't go into too much detail about, you know, a lot of things about them. Like, there's so much to these two that I want to talk about, but I can't. You know, not that it's, like, dark or mysterious or evil or anything, because obviously that's not what they do, but because I don't want to feed in too much to the information, getting... Like, there are creepy people online, which is why I was actually hesitant to make this. But they are part of the system, and they need to be respected as well. Especially for their role. Like, they've actually saved my life several times. That being said, they have one of the easier roles. Obviously, we don't want to put too much pressure on children. And I say easier very loosely due to the fact that they have to deal with my anxious ass all the fucking time. I'm not even kidding, like, my anxiety is always through the roof. I'm not even, like, messing with you. Like, I'm anxious constantly. Over something or another, even something that's, like, way in the past, I'll still get anxious. But, you know, that's just how my life happens to me. So, where do these two live? Because I always do bring that up. Is it okay if I talk to them about this? Debbie? Okay, so it should be fine, just to be very careful. They live in a place that's... Okay, like, I'm going to do what I did before. Say, like, Starlight Plaza's right here. You got a road, and then there's Amethyst Forest over here. If you go into Amethyst Forest, it is a forest made of amethyst trees. And the leaves are very fancy looking. They're like this really deep purplish red. You look up, it's like stained glass. Like, but it's like really thick, so you get sunlight, but it's also really dark around the ground. It's really weird. There's like fog all over the place. You go down the way, you're going to realize there are 3 branching paths. There's one that goes straight, which leads you to Whiplash Desert, a whole other place I gotta get into. You go that direction, you'll go to, like, if we're going like that way to Whiplash, up this way is Anna and Pan and Daphne's mansion. They live in a haunted mansion, which is kind of cool. And if you go this way, you'll reach Joy's house, who is somebody else we'll have to talk about later, because she does have a really fun role. It's not like a major role, but she does have one. The mansion is generally, I think, as far as I know, like, originally I thought it was a decrepit mansion that was, like, always in kind of a perpetual cloud or something like that. But honestly, it's a lot more like the Haunted Mansion in Disneyland. There are ghosts that live there, they're very friendly. There are, like, creepy sounds and everything, but generally the ghosts are friends with them, which is kind of nice. And that's kind of the other thing. The ghosts protect them as well, which is a little weird. Like, they protect them as long as they're in the house. So it's like they have kind of their own protectors in a way. Like, they have a whole system working with them. And they never go anywhere alone. I'm gonna say that right out the gate. Like, those two always have someone with them. Doesn't mean they don't sneak off sometimes and, you know, cause mischief. They are children, and they do like to get into things they shouldn't. But honestly, I feel like that's all I feel comfortable sharing. Like, these two are children. They are I've said that enough. They are very special to me. They're important. They come out randomly, which I think is another very important topic. Like, recently, this is something I'm okay sharing because it was just something cute. We were watching a channel called Just for Kids. It's made by good old Mr. Safety himself, Corey Williams. Shout out to you. I love your stuff. It's good for them. And I was just kind of watching it because it popped up on my subscription feed. They came out, they really liked it, they thought it was cute, they thought it was fun, because it was like a VR experience for them. They'd never seen something that was 3D animated for children, so there you go. They do like children's stuff a lot. But beyond that, that's pretty much all I feel comfortable with. I hope you got at least a little bit of information about them that wasn't too jarring. Like, I know the age thing was a little weird, and it is a little weird when they come out. But, like, around other people, it's a little odd. For me, it's just like, oh, okay. You know, you want to come play, whatever, you can come play. Oh, there was actually, I'm not going to end yet. There was one more last thing I want to talk about, because the heartbreaking thing. Like, this actually is something that everyone littles experiences, and I recently had this feeling, and it sucks. So we took them to the park, just because, you know, it was something for me to do, something for everyone to get involved in if we wanted. And we went to go play on the swings. There were children there, and Pan said, can we go play with the kids? And I said no. When they asked me why, I said, because it would not look right. Obviously, I'm not, like, a weirdo. I'm not gonna, like, go just staring at kids or something. Like, I like to watch kids play, only because I miss my childhood. I didn't have much of one. Like, I did have one, but it wasn't like everybody else's that everybody else dealt with. And it makes me realize that they don't know how good they got it. You know, they don't realize that they're gonna grow up and they're gonna end up like me, doing work and, you know, having responsibilities. To these kids, they don't know how good they have it, and I'm honestly jealous. It's nothing weird. I'm a little jealous of the freedom that I've lost since becoming an adult. Now, not that I don't have freedoms. I actually have a lot of freedoms now that I'm an adult, but kids have a very unique sense of freedom, where they feel like, oh, nothing can go bad for me, because, like, I'll have a bad day and I'll get over it, because I have my friends, and running around in circles outside, and playing on swings, and going to school and going to recess, all that stuff. But then you start to get older, and you realize that life can be rough sometimes. Like, you start to realize that you didn't have as much freedom as you thought. I got a little dark there for a second, I'm sorry, but that's the only reason I do it. Like, because I look at these kids and I go, enjoy it while you got it. Because eventually, you're going to grow up, you're going to have a job, and a car, and a family of your own, and you're going to look back on that, and look at your kids, and the kids they're playing with, and go, I wish I was still that age, because I miss that freedom. But, you know, obviously, there are a lot of implications to an adult playing games with kids that, especially for a trans person, like, we are so fucking stigmatized by the media that I have to say no, to avoid being stereotyped, to avoid being judged for something that I'm not even trying to do. You know, and DID itself is stigmatized in that way, and hearing them upset broke me. Where they said, but that's not fair. We should be able to go play. And I had to tell them, yeah, but you gotta keep in mind that I'm your host. And I'm 25. And a 25-year-old playing with little kids that are complete strangers, like, that screams problematic. And honestly, I don't understand how anyone could be attracted to a child in that way. Like, that's weird, that's creepy, that's gross. So to me, like, I want to avoid being stigmatized that way as much as possible, because obviously I'm not that way. And it scares me that somebody could take it wrong. And I'm not judging Anna and Pan based on this. I'm, like, they're kids. Like, there is certain stuff they don't understand. I said they're intelligent. I didn't say they were geniuses. You know, they don't know everything. They're still young. And considering that they're kind of age-locked, basically, so they're never going to be able to experience what I'm dealing with unless it's through me. So, trying to explain that to them is hard. And it really does break my heart that they aren't going to have children friends for a very long time until I adopt children of my own in the future. And let me tell you something, when I adopt children, those two, Anna and Pan, are probably going to end up becoming their best friends. As long as they don't integrate before then. Which I don't know if they ever will. Now that's something that I've never really talked about, is that anxiety is permanent. You're never going to be able to get rid of it, which means they're more than likely going to be around for a very long time, or they might integrate to help me deal with it. Like, that's something that scares them, it scares me, it scares Deppy, it scares Serenity. Like, that's something that's new. The one thing that I think Serenity has told me in the past was that if there's any others she's scared to see integrate, it's the two of them. Because it's not a painful process, but it is a terrifying one. And I've talked about that before in my integration video. But anyway, I went on a complete tangent there at the end, and I'm sorry for that, but I'm also not sorry because it was very important to point out that issue of having littles who want to play with children, but then you gotta realize you're a freaking adult and you can't. You can't give them that, and oh, it sucks. It really does. And it's not just trans people, by the way. I just want to say that right now. It's everybody who's got a little, because those kind of creepy people come in all shapes, sizes, and genders. Like, I'll put that out, but we do get stigmatized a lot. Just clearing that up. Anyway, really, thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate it. I always do. If you like what I do here, like, comment, subscribe, all that good kind of stuff. It really helps me a lot, especially with the algorithm. It is a mess. Ring the bell, all that good stuff if you feel like it. If you want to keep up to date with things, follow my Instagram. It is the same name as here, just all lowercase. And I will see you in the next video that I make. So until then, you're beautiful, you're valid, and you're important. That is very, very, very important to me and everyone up here. And I will see you next time. Goodbye.